Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/OhNoConsequences. As per usual, I'll be reading you the post, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for making my daughter leave because my husband is attracted to her? I, 55 female, have been married to my husband and my daughter's stepdad, 63 male, for 4 years. My 23-year-old daughter and I have a complicated relationship. She's been diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. She has a lot of trauma from watching me and my husband's horrible marriage go down and was bullied in school. When she told me she was being bullied by peers, my view that all children are innocents really tied my hands, because I told her that if I said anything to them, I would be an adult harassing a child. She has blamed me for that ever since, and keeps referring to this one time where the kids at school called her trash due to the fact that she wasn't taking care of her hygiene due to depression. Part, not all, of my response was telling her to take a shower, and I bought her new clothes. The bullying finally ended with an expulsion and a suspension for the ringleaders. She still throws the fact that a school clinic volunteer told her that if she was their kid, she'd have permission to punch back if administrators didn't do anything. I thought that having her live with me while she finishes school and gets a job would help heal some childhood wounds if my second husband and I modeled a healthy relationship. However, my daughter now doesn't get along with my husband. She is a very introverted, creative person who likes immersing herself in escapism. So she'd get annoyed if she was sitting, eating alone, and my husband would sit across from her and eat, saying she ate later so she could eat alone. However, my husband started acting distant from me, and my daughter complained that his eyes lingered for too long. She got very angry, and there was a lot of shouting and slamming doors. Finally, my husband admitted he's attracted to her, and it's hard to be around her all day. Said she was a walking temptation, and said that's why he was avoiding sex with me. I was so upset to hear this. I don't blame my daughter for this, but at the same time, the situation has become unbearable. Something would have to give, and I couldn't collect my thoughts with both of them still being in the house. So I gave my daughter money to stay at an extended stay hotel and asked her to utilize her college's emergency financial and housing resources they have for students in need. She responded by storming out and telling my ex, who's now circling social media using it to paint me as the villain of all villains. I'm not abandoning my daughter, she qualifies for those resources anyway since my ex is unemployed, and we are in substantial debt. I just need time to process the situation and don't want to leave my house to stay with my daughter when I have a marriage to figure out whether or not to save. Am I the asshole? What do you mean whether or not to save? He admitted that he was attracted to your daughter, and you kicked your daughter out for that, and told her to seek out financial assistance from her university. Your husband even called her a walking temptation. Whatever the fuck that could mean. OP also has a history of, as a mother, just simply being, well, there's nothing I can really do in this situation to help you. My hands are tied. Figure it out yourself. Whether it was dealing with childhood bullies or dealing with a stepfather who's sexually attracted to her as a walking temptation. And what's your response? Oh, well, I can't possibly step in and intervene with the bullies because then I'm harassing a child. Oh, well, I can't possibly intervene between you and your stepfather, so it looks like you're gonna have to go. Sounds like this is a trend, and I would definitely be on the boat to assume that this is a common trend that happened throughout the entirety of OP's child's life. That's just my assumption, though. Now, the consequence to this post, for those of you who are wondering, is the fact that everyone's calling her the villain of all villains. Yes, that is the consequence for kicking your daughter out of the house when your stepfather has the hots for her and is referring to her, someone who is 40 years younger than him, as a walking temptation. Yikes. Cross-post from r/wedding drama. The bride told us to wear neutrals, then got upset that no one wore color. I attended a wedding last weekend for a coworker I'm friendly with. It was a lovely event. Outdoor ceremony, simple decorations, and simply a very chill vibe overall. But there was a weird bit of tension that started before the wedding even happened and came to a head at the reception. In the invitation, under dress code, the bride had written, "Please wear neutral tones. Think beige, cream, soft gray, taupe, or dusty rose. Let the flowers bring the color. I thought that was a cute idea and respected her wishes. I ended up wearing a soft beige jumpsuit, and most of the other guests were in similar shades: creams, tan, champagne, dusty pinks, very muted and elegant. But at the reception, during her toast, the bride jokingly said, "I thought you guys would surprise me with a few pops of color, but I guess everyone really listened." It got an awkward laugh, but you could tell she was genuinely disappointed. Later on, I overheard her talking to one of her friends saying, "It looks like everyone is dressed for a funeral." A few people started wondering if they had misunderstood the dress code, but we all double-checked. The wording was pretty clear. She didn't say optional neutrals. She asked for them. I even texted the group I came with before we arrived and confirmed the exact phrasing. Now, some mutuals are saying she's annoyed at how seriously everyone took it, and that she wanted more vibrancy in the photos. Personally, I think if you wanted a specific look, you have to own it, not get passive-aggressive when people do as you ask. It wasn't a blowout or anything, but it definitely left some guests feeling awkward, especially those who spent time and money picking something that would fit her theme. I don't even know what to say about this one. Bride gives out dress code. Everyone follows dress code and respects the bride. Bride then gets upset that everyone followed the dress code. Like, you can't be mad about that. That's on you. On one hand, at least, the bride knows that everyone respects her enough to not try to clash against her wedding requests. But at the same time, it is kind of crazy that the one thing someone most certainly would not want at their wedding, that being someone disobeying the rules of the wedding, the bride actively apparently wanted and made it passive-aggressive during reception. That's just goofy. Like, I don't even know what to tell you at that point in time. Like, you're mad you got everything you directly asked for at your wedding. And I just don't know what to say. Cross posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling other neighbors about what I heard through my Ring doorbell after they complained about my noise? I, 20 male, live in a duplex and installed a Ring doorbell 6 months ago after packages kept getting stolen. The audio picks up conversations from my front door pretty clearly. My upstairs neighbors, couple, early 30s, have been complaining to our landlord about me making excessive noise late at night. I'm a college student and game with friends online, so I'm usually up until 2 a.m. But I use a headset and barely make any sound. The landlord warned me twice about disturbing other tenants. Here's where it gets complicated. My doorbell has been recording them having very loud arguments on the front steps at like 1 to 3 a.m. for months. And I mean loud, like screaming, crying, door slamming, way louder than me ever talking to my gaming buddies. But the real issue is what I overheard last week. The guy was on the phone with someone, clearly his mom based on context, saying, "Seriously, this college kid is... Look, we've been keeping track, filing reports when he gets too loud. Landlord's already talked to him a couple times. If he's gone, we might actually be able to afford the whole hallway." I was furious. They're literally trying to get me evicted with false complaints while being way louder themselves. So, I made a group chat with other neighbors and shared the footage. I said, just wanted everyone to see what actual noise violations look like since apparently I'm the problem tenant. Now the whole street knows they were lying about me and they've been scheming to get me kicked out. The landlord saw the videos and dropped all complaints against me. But the couple is absolutely livid, saying I violated their privacy by recording private conversations and destroyed their reputation by sharing it with neighbors. The wife came crying to me yesterday saying I've made them outcasts and they might have to move now because everyone thinks they're manipulative. She said their relationship is already rocky and this public humiliation might be the final straw for their marriage. Part of me feels bad because I did share very private moments, but they were literally trying to destroy my housing situation with fake complaints, and the recordings were from a public area where anyone walking by could hear. My roommate from last year says I went nuclear and should have just shown the landlord privately. But honestly, after months of being painted as the irresponsible college kid, I wanted everyone to see who the real problem neighbors were. Am I the asshole for sharing my doorbell recordings that exposed their scheme and private relationship drama? God, it is a pain in the ass dealing with people where they do something objectively shitty and just morally bankrupt, and part of that mission they have is to ruin other people's lives, and when you actually get evidence of it and compile it all together and expose them for the kind of bullshit they're pulling, suddenly you're misrepresenting their actions, or taking things too far, or destroying their reputation, or violating their privacy. Hundreds upon hundreds of other excuses that's anything other than the fact of, oh shit, yeah, this does make me look really bad, I'm sorry. Nah, it's the doubling down, trying to gaslight, trying to make it so that way, well, at this point in time, we've both done things that are really messed up, so maybe we should just move on and pretend like none of this happened. Now, there is a part of me that mostly wanted to include this one just because of the fact that people like this do exist, and if you expose someone's bullshit and fuckery, and suddenly they're trying to flip the script on you, don't stress about it and don't feel like you have to then backpedal on what you've done, because it's a manipulation tactic. And I kind of wanted to use this opportunity to help point it out. But there are a few elements of this that don't make sense to me, and I'm hoping that maybe someone might be able to shine some light. Maybe it's just something as simple as OP not using the proper words for it. But they live in the duplex, the neighbors live above them, they're speaking on owning the entire hallway, they contact the fellow neighbors about what's going on, and get the entire street involved. I think the part that's really confusing me is just the mention of the hallway and how they're the upstairs neighbor, but they're also hoping to own the entire hallway by evicting their downstairs neighbor. There's a few gaps here, and I'm wondering if it's just something as simple as wrong word was used, or maybe something else here is going on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments for those of you who are listening on YouTube. Cross posted from r/what should I do? My 40 female husband, 42 male, told me our daughter's friend, 18 female, tried it on with him. I didn't react well. Sorry if you see me posting other subs, it keeps getting removed. The last couple of weeks, my husband has been very quiet and not sleeping well. I've asked him a couple of times if he's okay, and he said yes, but I could tell something was bothering him. On Saturday, he said he needs to talk to me, and burst into tears. I made us a cup of tea and sat down with him. He just blurted out and said Ava, our daughter's friend, had been coming on to him, and he doesn't know what to do. He said it started when he made a cake for her 18th birthday party. She messaged him, saying she got his number from our daughter and thank you for the cake. She then sent a lot of photos of herself in the dress she wore for the party. He just replied, saying it looked a fun party. She then messaged, asking if he could look at her car for her, as it was making a funny noise. She came round and he looked and said it was the brakes. He told me this at the time, so he wasn't hiding anything. She came around when our daughter was home, but I wasn't, and she went inside while my husband worked on the car outside. When it was done, she came out alone and said she had no money on her, and he said, "That's fine, just bring it around whenever or give it to our daughter." She then said she can pay another way, and in his words, flashed me, and I said I've gotta go and went inside, closing the door. I read through all the messages, and he never replied to any of them after this incident. And that afternoon, she messaged him, saying, "Thanks for doing my car for me. You're cute when you're shy." She's messaged him hundreds of times since, asking if he's alone, asking for lifts, asking if he thinks she's pretty. And she sent loads of pics from fully clothed to fully nude. My husband has said he doesn't know whether to reply, to talk to her parents, to talk to me. He said he's scared he's going to ruin our daughter's life if this comes out. I don't know why, but I suddenly exploded. I called him a pervert. I said he must have led her on. I said he must have paid her, as he's far too old and ugly for her. I called him disgusting and said I wanted him out of the house. I said he's ruined our daughter's life and plenty of other awful things. I stormed out of the house, and when I came back an hour later, he was gone. Over the last couple of days, I've calmed down and realized he's done nothing wrong, and I've reacted awfully. I've tried ringing and messaging him, but he's not responding. Why did I react like that? And how do I apologize to him? What do we do about these messages? Do we talk to her or her parents? Too long didn't read. Our daughter's friend has been coming on to my husband. I blamed him. Edit. It's 5 a.m. here in the UK, and I'm going to drive to his brother's house now where he's staying, as I know he leaves for work about 6, and I'm going to try to talk to him face to face. I've got flowers, chocolates, and wearing his favorite outfit. I'll let you all know what happens. Update post. 2 days later. So I went round to my husband's brother's yesterday morning at 5:30 a.m. to wait for him to leave for work so I could talk to him. I wore his favorite dress of mine and took him chocolate, flowers, and a letter I'd wrote for him. The talk went about how a lot of you wanted it to go. He told me he'd spoken to a lawyer and he wanted a divorce. He said he can't get past what I said, and as soon as he laid eyes on me, he felt nothing but anxiety and a need to run. He said he'll never get over what I said and how I acted, and that's that. I know I deserve this, but I'm still incredibly heartbroken. Last night, he also met up with our daughter and told her everything, and she's still not talking to me and said she's going to live with her dad when this is over. She also said her friend has been saying for years that she fancies my husband, but thought it was just stupid talk, and she wouldn't actually do anything. She's still friends with Ava, but told her she will fall out with her if she does anything else. My husband had also spoken to the girl's parents, who didn't really seem to give a shit. They said she's 18, she can do what she wants, but they're sorry she's tried to get with a married man. But they can't ban her from talking to people, and she'll be going to uni in September, so they don't want to cause any unrest before she goes. My husband said he felt a lot more relaxed once he'd spoken to them and our daughter, so hopefully he can sleep now. Too long didn't read, everyone knows now, I'm the bad guy, Ava got away with no punishment. Edit, I'm too drunk to reply, I'll reply tomorrow. The husband was put in a lose-lose situation here. If he didn't tell his wife, and his wife eventually found out, she would be suspicious that something was going on, despite the husband not acting on any of it, and being uncomfortable with the fact that one of his daughter's friends is hitting on him. And with him telling her and trying to be upfront and just talk to her the fact of, hey, daughter's friend's flirting with me, I'm uncomfortable, what do we do? In both scenarios, he was probably going to be met with the same response. She's out of your league. You're ugly. You're a pervert. You did something, didn't you? You let her on. You paid her off. There's no winning. Like, I understand that OP knows that what they did was wrong, and they horrendously fucked up. But there is no recovering from that. He tried to confine within his significant other and tell her something that's bothering him, and instead he was berated, insulted, dragged through the mud and accused of horrendous things. I mean, in the first part of the post, you mentioned your husband was staying awake at night and crying. This was really fucking with him. And he tried to reach out to the one person he thought he could trust, and, well, that was your reaction. And in a sense, by calling him old and ugly, you kind of just revealed how you feel about him. Where did those comments come from? They had to originate from somewhere. That's where your mind went. I'm sorry, but I don't know what to tell you. You really fucked this up, and there's not really any way to repair this. Like, you squeezed the toothpaste out of the tube. I mean, sure, you can try to put it back in, but it's going to be difficult as hell. And honestly, I don't even know if you're going to be able to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Like, you had a good one. You had a husband who was loyal to a fault, and I don't know if you can recover this, or let alone if you can even deserve to recover this after what you said to him. Flowers in a box of chocolates isn't really gonna be able to win him over and convince him that the words you said you didn't mean, especially if you stewed on it for multiple days. Like, he just was at his brother's, with limited contact from you. After everything you did, he was kind of just left to put the pieces together. And if he feels anxious and like he needs to run away at the sight of you, you just need to give him space. That's really all you can do at this point. Cross posted from r/Am I the Asshole. Am I the asshole? Struggling woman. Hey guys, so I had a weird grievance about me. My third cousin, who's the same age as me, came to me and said that I owed her some money. I was shocked because I've never borrowed from her, ever. So, it turns out that her aunt has taken her jewelry shopping and has asked her to pick out a necklace for me. She has jokingly asked the aunt if she's getting anything at all, to which the aunt said no. So she chose an ugly necklace. 2 weeks later, my aunt came to me and asked me to pick a necklace out for her, which I thought would suit her. I picked a cute necklace with a small pink diamond pendant. And for Easter, we gather in our grandparents' house to celebrate the day. The aunt asked us to wrap the presents. We had already done so. Then, when it was time for the gift giving, she simply asked us to open the box we had wrapped by ourselves, which we thought was the other person's. Or, if we wanted, we could gift it to each other. I was so happy to get the cute necklace, which I selected, but my cousin wasn't. She simply demanded that I give her rightful present, the cute necklace, and take the meh necklace. I refused, and said that we were supposed to keep our own gifts because we spent time selecting it, and Aunt didn't want to take risk, and so she took us shopping and still made it a lovely surprise. And so she stuck with the ugly necklace and not me. But she argued and said she doesn't find it ugly, but wants to encourage gifting between family. She wants me to be stuck with the ugly one, and my other relatives who don't understand have sided with her. Please help me. I'll quote your replies to my relatives, and if it's like above 50% supporting me, I'll have a solid point to hold on to. So long story short, Aunt gives OP and their cousin the opportunity to pick out gifts for one another. OP actually picks something out cute. The cousin, upon hearing that it's not for them, decides to go for something ugly out of some form of spite. And it ends up just biting them in the ass when they find out of, oh, you guys can either keep the gifts you got for each other for yourselves, or swap. And now, the cousin's stuck with the necklace they purposely picked out to be potentially ugly. And the cherry on top is the fact of once it didn't go their way, they're now asking OP for additional money, which is insane. I didn't like the gift I picked out for you, which was actually for me, so you now owe me money. That is actually wild. And this whole thing would have been avoided if they weren't spiteful and just picked out a gift that they thought their cousin would have actually liked and not did what they did. Crazy how trying to be nice for someone can actually go a long ways. And now you have to face the unintended consequences of your choices and poor actions. Whoopsie whoopsie. Cross posted from r/am I the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling my brother-in-law I will never forgive his daughter and I have no intention of ever having her near my family? So the people involved here, me, 30 female, my husband, 35 male, my older sister, 35 female, my sister's son, Kevin, 14 male, her husband Joe, 40 male, Joe's daughter Kelly, 15 female. My sister had a blended family with her bio son, her husband, and her stepdaughter. I would say it was still a work in progress for them, but we all accepted and included Joe and Kelly into our lives. A few weeks ago, my husband and I organized a little get-together at our place to celebrate my birthday and for people in our family to spend time with our 6-month-old son. The people present were my sister and her family, plus our parents, so very intimate and chill. Everything went well and nothing out of the ordinary happened. But some days after the gathering, my nephew Kevin came to our house and asked to speak to me about something concerning. For info, Kevin and Kelly attend the same school and have some mutual friends. My nephew told me that Kelly has been telling her friends that during the gathering, she has seen her step-uncle's, my husband's, organ. She claims she was in the bathroom, my husband entered without knocking, and he had his organ outside his pants, and this is how she ended up seeing it. This is absurd because my husband does not do this even when we're home alone in our home. And honestly, who does that when they know they have guests over? So I asked everybody who were present that day to meet at my parents' house and confronted Kelly. She started crying and confesses she lied to her friends. According to her, all of her girlfriends have already had some sort of intimacy and experiences, and she had none by this point. So she invented this story to look cool in front of her friends. I lost it. I called her a disgusting piece of shit, a psychopath, and told her she risked my son's father's life just to boost her stupid social life among her friends. I told the rest of my family that going forward, I will never bring my family near Kelly again. The consequences for this girl came fast. My nephew told everybody at school the truth. My sister and Joe went to school and informed the principal about what happened, so in case any teacher hears that bullshit, they know it's made up, so they don't take action. My parents cut contact with her and will not host her in their house anymore, and my sister refuses to have Kelly live with them. So she was permanently moved to her mother's place. Before you start judging my sister for this, please keep in mind that she has a bio son who needs to be protected. If Kelly could so easily invent and tell those things about my husband, who can guarantee she will not lie about her stepbrother too? Now, Joe is obviously hurt and torn about everything that happened. He keeps telling me that Kelly is depressed and wants to apologize to my family. But I keep refusing. I explained to him that I don't need her apology, and she doesn't waste her time with this because I will never forget what happened or move past it. Joe keeps begging me to forgive her because she's just a stupid teenager, and maybe if my sister sees me forgiving her, she will be willing to eventually accept Kelly back. I told Joe that a stupid teenager can have the power to ruin a man's life and reputation, so I'm not risking it. Also, I fully support my sister, and I want to protect my nephew too. Before Kelly was moved to her mother's, Kevin stayed with me and my husband for some days. So I don't regret my decision at all. I stand by everything that I said, but I feel bad for my brother-in-law. Regardless of how messed up his daughter is, he's a great guy. Respectful, and he really values the concept of family and honesty. So, I don't know. I guess I want to ask if I was the asshole towards him. I would say no, because even if she was just trying to, fit in with her friends and brag about some kind of story, she still put your husband at risk. Schools are mandatory reporters, and if they heard that, well, that wouldn't be good. There'd be investigations put into place, and a lot of questions. And she put your husband's reputation and life at risk for some social clout. The reaction and consequences are more than understandable, because this could have gone so much worse and could have gotten so much more out of hand than it already did. And on top of that, additionally, whatever happened to just saying, oh, you don't know my boyfriend who we totally have lots of time together with because he actually goes to a different high school in Canada and you won't meet him. Whatever happened to that? But with that, of course, I'd love to hear some additional opinions on it and what you all think of this just messy situation. Cross-posted from r/best of. The person who clicked this post was JSMK, and their tagline is, "This is what I'm gonna have to find. A groan that sounded like a T-Rex with a hot poker in its ass." Originally posted r/hockey by Will Work for Ice Cream. World's sanest hockey goalie asks, would it mess me up if I ate a puck? July 10th, 2012. I asked this in r/Ask Science, but I'm hoping someone here may have some actual experience in the matter. I've been a goalie for a few years now, and I keep getting this urge to eat a hockey puck. I've always ignored it before, but it's becoming more tempting. I considered myself to be a reasonable and logical person, but I can't shake it. So here's how I see it. Pros. 1. It will possibly get the notion out of my head if I just get it over with. 2. I may absorb the mystical powers of the puck and increase my goaltending skills. Cons. 1. It could mess up my insides. 2. I would have one less hockey puck. So, as stated before, would it negatively affect my health if I ate a hockey puck? Edit, some people seem to think that I will be eating this thing whole. That's just nuts. Update. Short answer, yes. I have found a high correlation between puck consumption and terrible diarrhea and stomach pains. I've made multiple attempts by eating a smaller sliver a day for various periods of time until I was unable to stand it anymore. The longest was about 2 weeks in duration. The shortest was 2 days. Diarrhea and stomach pains every time. I have not noticed a statistically significant increase in goaltending ability. Edit. Here's a picture. And this man is just shaving parts of the hockey puck off, I guess. Edit 2. Some people are under the impression that I'm still eating this thing. Called it quits about a fortnight ago. I'm not crazy. Editor's note. OP is in fact crazy. I think my biggest question at the end of this is just why? Why did you think it would give you powers? I just really want to know the thought process. I'm so invested and so confused. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.